Hey guys, Mr. Low Cortisol here, back with another interesting commentary Minecraft parkour SUDU gameplay video. And the topic of contention I kind of want to bring up to you guys today is going to be, as per seen from the title, is Godrail Godrail? Question mark. Editor, roll the intro. So the reason why I kind of want to bring up this topic today is because I came across a very interesting post on the Twitter community, which is going to be by a Spanish Twitter user, where he collected all free-to-play pools in hashtag Honkai Star Rail, which this is going to just calculate the limited pools. So we're not going to be talking about the standard pools, purely just from the limited summons within his calculations. And he has came up with a grand total of 2,895 summons, up to 4.2, which is 32 characters in 35 updates, winning all pities. But if you lose them, it will be half Badaboon, 16 characters in 35 versions, and then the average is gonna be 24 out of 58 from the total roster, based on each account's luck. So blah blah, if you're an old player, it is rare to have half the roster free to play unless you have won a lot of pities. And then the topic of this video is not really so much to dispute whether or not his calculations are going to be correct or if it's going to be wrong, but it is more so to discuss, as I mentioned, the topic of this video is Godrail, because this particular account also did a very similar... He did a very similar thing for Genshin Impact, which is going... Okay, you know what? I have no idea what he's saying. Right? I have never seen all that. Right, I have no idea what all that is. Right, I have no idea what that is gonna be. Okay, so he basically made this very popular Genshin Impact video on the 18th of March, where he calculated the total amount of limited summons you're able to obtain as a complete free-to-play, which is 3,706 across all the way up until version 6.6. So on average, you will be getting 25 of the characters from 1/4 of the full roster, right? So at this point, you might be having comments in the YouTube chatters, Twitch chatter, you might be, okay, the number is wrong, there's more, there's less, he's misinformation, it is whatever, it is estimates, he's putting this out there, whatever it's going to be. We are not here to say whether or not the actual number is going to be fully accurate, but it is going to be a rough estimation of what we have obtained. So this is going to be the data where he has obtained it from, so you can see from 1.0 all the way to 3.4, and then later on we have another commenter from the Twitter section which mentioned most of them are very bad. Here is the real data. So this is going to be the quote-unquote real data. Again, I'm not here to verify if the numbers are true. It is just to measure if Godrail is going to be Godrail. So assuming that we use this as a representation, we have around 213.9 pools from 1.0, which I'm gonna be assuming also includes your one-time achievements, one-time clears for your story as well, etc. And then this goes all the way up until version 4.2, which we gotten a whopping 130 pools free to play on that single version. And throughout this entire graph, the lowest ever patch that Godrail has given its players as a free to play player is going to be in patch 1.4 with 77.2 pools, and ever since this point onwards, it never really dipped below 80-ish. And on average, I think it is pretty fair to say this looks to be around 100 limited summons for the free-to-play, right? Assuming this data is like within like 5 to 10% of margin of error, I think this is not going to be too much of a dispute over here. Now, that is, like I mentioned, not really the main thing. My question to you guys as the audience, as well as my personal experience playing HSR as a free-to-play player, is whether or not Godrail is Godrail, or more specifically, how free-to-play friendly is Honkai Star Rail. So this will then bring me to my points that you can kind of just check out over here. You can read through yourself if you want to, but I'll just start yapping over here so that you guys can listen to Mr. Background Noise as I list out a couple of facts. These are not for debate, these are purely just facts that has been happening in Honkai Star Rail as of the year 2026. Number one, we do have this thing called the golden companion spirits, which the game has given us from the start all the way until now. I believe we have 3 of these golden companion spirits as a complete free-to-play. So they have been giving this out one time for the free Runmei or Luocha. Alright, that was one. And then we got another one with the free Topaz when Topaz got added to the pool. And then we did get another one very recently with the free Babin as well as Hue Hue. Bring our total golden companion spirits to 3, as well as the options to choose from this shop ranging from Runmei, Luocha, Topaz, Robin, as well as Hue Hue. So that is gonna be number 1 of those things that we have gotten for free, which is not really calculated in just the amount of pools that you would obtain as a free-to-play player. Number 2. And honestly, this was very, very interesting. Wait, give me 1 second. Let me pull up this game, because when I checked this in my Celestial Invitation, I kind of just realized you could theoretically obtain almost every single version 1 limited units, previously limited anyways, without spending pools on their banner. So what do I mean by this is, if you can just give me 1 second. Alright, stop boinging, right? Stop boinging. So essentially what I came to realize is that almost the entire version 1 roster in Honkai Star Rail can pretty much be obtained without directly pulling from them, usually from 3 methods. Either with Celestial Invitation, which is your 50-50 lost pool, as you can see right here. So you can pretty much edit this out for Argenti, Yunli, Fuxuan, Blade, Silver Wolf, as well as Silla. The units that are not over here are namely gonna be your Luocha, Kafka, Runmei, Hue Hue. Did I miss anyone? Oh, and Dale, right? And Dale. So out of all of these rosters, you are able to get them without pooling specifically for their banner. So for example, if there ever is gonna be a Silla rerun or a Silver Wolf rerun or a Blade rerun, which I don't think is ever gonna happen forever, because you can already potentially get them from losing your 50-50. So that's number 1. Number 2, from your golden companion shop. So if you guys kindly take a look right here in your shop section, you can essentially get Luocha Runmei as well as Hue Hue, essentially quote unquote. Oh wait, there's a Topaz. My bad guys, but this character doesn't exist, right? So these 4 units are also going to be the version 1 units that you can obtain by exchanging out your golden companion spirits if you ever choose to do so. And then last but not least, there is this other thing, which I can't really remember what it was called, but every single player back when they gave out the free selector, right, where you could select from Jingyuan. Alright, there's a Jingyuan. There's a Jingyuan, Sparkle, Dale, Acheron, Kafka, I think there was like a E2 Dale, I think that was and Sparkle, right? So all of those 7 credits you can choose from, you can also obtain them via those means. So my point is basically, as of right now, majority of the version 1 units in HSR, you can get them by saving up your limited summons, or rather by spending limited pools for a character you're chasing for in the more updated version. So for example, if you're going to be chasing for Elation Flagship, like you want to get E1 S1 Silver Wolf, E1 S1 Evanescence, you could maybe lose to those units that I've mentioned just now from the Celestial Invitation, or if you really want, you can just claim them for quote-unquote free using your Celestial Invitation Golden Bars, right? So that is going to be number 2 in HSR. Whether or not they're going to be meta or not meta, it is going to be more so towards my next point after this, and that is going to be the 3 free men. As of this moment, we basically have 1 free man at a E0 S0 Archer, 2 free men as in the E0 S0 DHPT, as well as 3 free men as in Mr. Dr. Veritas ratio. These men that you obtain for free, it is not with an exchange, it is not with a golden companion, it is not with like any selectors. You pretty much get them period as a day 1 player, as long as you logged into Honkai Star Rail back during that period of time when you were playing the game. If you didn't log in, then it is what it is, but as a day 1 player, you pretty much had all 3 of them for free, right? Out of these 3 free units, I think we can all agree dollar ratio is like, you know, it is what it is. But between Archer, which is gonna be a limited quote-unquote limited collaboration for free. You get him for free, and then if you want to get, let's just say for example, his light cone, there was a, whether his light cone is free or is not free, as well as an absolutely diabolical E1 archer, which you can essentially, I have invested in the E1 archer on my free-to-play account, which has been performing extremely well. And frankly speaking, out of these free units, the fact that this guy is free is pretty shocking. Alright, as in like E0 S0 DHPT, because I can touch my heart and say, if my free-to-play account did not have a free DHPT, I would have put for a DHPT. That was how essential DHPT was to my free-to-play account back when I started HSR, because there was no other ways to properly sustain your Team 2 or even Team 3 without DHPT. Because it was either this guy, or I was using a Gallagher, or a Bailu. And I ain't exchanging for a Luocha, bro, or a Fuxuan, right? So I think this guy gave for free. It gave a lot of breathing room for, at least back then, a lot of free-to-play players that started out during the Amphorius patch, right? So there's gonna be those 3 completely free units get during knocking. Okay, this next point, it is more so related to, okay, so what if you get version 1 for free? Alright, without spending. How strong are they, right? This brings us to essentially the thing called Nova Flare. So in HSR as of this current moment, there are 10 different Nova Flares done for, if I can recall correctly, Jingliu, Blade, Kafka, Silver Wolf, Firefly, Well Yang, Scylla, Huan, Sparkle, as well as Black Swan, right? So out of these 10 Nova Flares, I would say 8 of them are performing relatively well, right? Maybe not tier 0, right? But I would say they are viable enough to clear at least 3 stars for one of the endgame floors. And then your other floor, we are not using the Nova Flare units with your flagship, whatever it's going to be, dedicated, break, DOT, they'll probably help you clear that 3-star content. And then out of those 8 Nova Flare units that are like relatively stable, 3 of them, I would say, are like performing exceptionally well along the same caliber as your flagship units. Out of these 3, I mean, it's up to you guys. Personally, for me, I think the 3 best performing Nova Flare units as of right now, it is pretty much going to be number 1, Kafka. I don't think she needs any introduction. Even till this day, every single DOT player is running Kafka with or without Black Swan, with or without High Stance. If you play DOT, you are probably getting Kafka, and you could have gotten Kafka for free with the selector if you were gonna be a DOT player. Number 2, Godfly, because Godfly is a girlfriend. She just got a Nova Flare, and you got Daria, you have HMC, you have Wagyu, right? If you play Godfly players, you are pretty much gonna be at the tip top of your game because they have been performing exceptionally well for pretty much every single endgame content. And number 3 of these, I would say personally, out of the 8, it will be Sparkle. Not to say that Huan and like Well Yang and like, you know, like Blade, like they're dog shit, but like Sparkle definitively has a slot in a tier 0 team comp, mainly either with the combination of an E1 Archer, or if you're gonna be pairing up a Phylon, right? Phylon could also be used. You could even use Sparkle to a certain extent with Acheron. And if you know what's happening to Aggron, you know what's going on. So those are gonna be some of the units that Nova Flare has essentially changed their kit that they will owe, and now a lot more viable in this current meta, right? So that is gonna be that in the future. I would say going forward, the next point, which kind of ties into your different Nova Flares, that is gonna be the variety of meta in Honkai Star Rail. So as of this moment, there we have Elation, Remembrance, Super Break. I mean, Super Break is mainly really just like Firefly. DOT, follow up by daggers. If you slender face out, follow up by daggers. Acheron, one fine day, right? As well as Ceredra's DPS. And by Ceredra's DPS, I mainly mean units like your Scylla, your My Day to a certain extent, right? Your Anexa, your Phylon, any units that could make use of Ceredra. They technically can work very, very well, especially by the same level of cost investments across the board, right? So my point for the bottom line is you have a lot of variety as an option in HSR, whether or not you want to chase meta or don't want to chase meta, because we are not talking about 0 cycles, right? We are talking about if you are a free-to-play player, number 1, don't think free-to-plays should be aiming for 0 cycles in the first place. I think that's a little bit silly, but it is more so to use your pools like in investing your cost investments as a free-to-play as wise as possible, such that they can last you the longest amount of time before the next flagship is going to inevitably appear in the next version. So using myself as an example, my free-to-play account is not investing in Elation. Now you might think, oh my god, your account is getting power cramped. Alright, you're not gonna clear 3 stars anomaly arbitration. You're probably gonna get caught by Star Word, the brand new latest mode of the endgame. But my flip side is, I am saving up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pools that I would have otherwise spent to get myself an Elation flagship, bare minimum, let's just say 4 cost, right? Maybe an E2 S0, maybe it goes to 6 cost or even 8 cost. And if I would have saved those costs as a free to play, I'm okay missing out that little bit, because by the time version 5 rolls around, I'm gonna be having like what, thousands of pools, if not even more, if I skip out this entire version 4 because I just have no interest in playing Elation on my free-to-play account. And this brings me to my last point of this entire video before I wrap it up, which is on my free-to-play account, right? With statistics backed up, you can check out this video, like our board progression after 1 year. I have obtained 1,686 limited summons. 1686 from an account that started playing on version 3.0 with D Herda. And as of this moment, I think we probably didn't update a little bit. It is 470 pools remaining, 473 limited pools, because I am skipping Elation. And the last unit that I put on for my bob was to get myself an E1 Evernight, right? So with this current account, before the brand new 3-team endgame introduction maybe coming out in 4.3, I have cleared every single endgame 3-star, with the only exception being the latest Ilwish Arc Lotus Anomaly Arbitration King, in which we could not clear 3 stars running my 8-cost Remembrance flagship because I do not have a single E2, and I don't activate a single of my E2s, even though I already have them on my free-to-play. So MOC, APOC, Pure Fusion, so far, it hasn't really been a problem, which means I have gotten every single Stellar Jade income as a complete free-to-play player, while still saving up almost close to 500 limited pools by not pulling in a single flagship in version 4. So at this point of the video, I'm going to be wrapping up very, very soon right here. Whether Honkai Star Rail is free-to-play friendly or not, it is not really for me to tell you this game is free-to-play friendly, this game is not free-to-play friendly, because at the end of the day, I'm not sponsored, right? It is your own decision on your own free-to-play account on how this game has been like for you across your different endgame content, team content, whatever it's going to be. But from my personal experience as a free-to-play player, as well as someone that's been playing this game for a very, very long time, Godrail is Godrail. Roll credits. With that, we have come to the end of our very, very nice little yapping video that I've kind of prepared all script for you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Is Godrail, and what are your thoughts? Because I believe that this individual for Twitter, he is also going to be making a very similar infographic for Zenless Zone 0 as well as Wuthering Waves. I'm not really going to comment on those because I don't really play those games as much, but at least these are going to be my 2 cents as someone that's been playing Godrail for a very, very long time. So looking forward to the live stream when it eventually happens of this time of this recording. Word of the day is going to be actually, you know what? Boy. Join Discord, join TikTok. Use code POKE for 10% off gamers subs. All the best for your other picks, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.